Hey everyone, welcome back to So Well Media. We are back here with another series review of Alien Earth. I just want to say that this show came by surprise for me. Even though I'm an Alien fan, I'm kind of hit or miss. I like some Alien movies more than others. Recently, we had Alien Romulus, which was successful, and now we got this show on FX, Alien Earth. And I will say this is probably one of my favorite shows that came out this year. I was not expected to be that good, and I'm kind of surprised that we're getting this quality of television today. And not on streaming or anything like that. I mean, yeah, it's on Disney Plus now, but whether you boycott it or not, hey, it's whatever. It's to each his own. Yeah, but what was your thoughts in terms of these 8 episodes of Alien Earth, all full spoiler?
Yeah, no, also as a recent Alien Predator fan, I got into the franchise probably 3 years ago now at this point. And it's like when this show was announced, I was like, okay, bringing the xenomorphs and all the craziness to Earth. How is that gonna go?
Right.
But I was hopeful and being like, this is Noah Hawley we're talking about here doing this. I'm like, let's see how it goes. And now we just completed the 8th and final episode of season 1. I thought it was just going to be one season. No, we might get 2 based on that finale, but no, this show was just something else. This show brought so much raw emotion, so many great character moments, so much xenomorph action, and just so many themes within it as well that you're just like, did I just watch that? It's one of those shows that come out of nowhere and you're like, oh, okay, let's see how this goes. And you're watching, I'm like, did I just watch that? Kind of like Shogun, which came out on which also came out on Netflix and Hulu. It's one of those shows where it's just like, this is something you could only just experience if you go see it for yourself and see if you're into this type of series. But I think there's a lot for this and for everyone, even if you're not a fan of horror. I think there's a lot within this series to enjoy. It's just a lot. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, my wife is not, really familiar with all the Alien movies or anything, so she's going this blind, right? So she didn't know about the whole timelines and all stuff like that. She got a general gist of face hugger, boom, human, pop out, chest bust, alien, But one thing I thought what this show did was expanded the lore, and I think achieved what Alien or what the Prometheus era, the Ridley Scott was trying to do. And I felt that they simplify it into a way, but I think they able to expand on more territory with expanding the lore than what those films did within these 8 episodes. What you had here was, yeah, we're not treating the fans like they're idiots. About the aliens, about the xenomorphs and stuff, and we're playing more on the evolution and the curiosity about humanity, but also the expanding on corporate greed. What drives us to do what we do, and when we play man versus nature, or when we want to play God in some cases, right? But with this is you expanded this lore with all these multiple corporations, trying to go and at war with each other technically in terms of who would be the main company of the universe, you should say. And but also they take the whole concept of aliens and flip it on itself on a basic story: ship meet face hugger meet alien, blah blah blah. But they flip it in terms no, we're bringing aliens on Earth, which again you would think as a concept, oh man, that's crazy, how's insane, how's it gonna go? But it's on an island, but again with another expanding on technology with these synths, and with these also these cyborgs, and with that they were able to explain a lot of different things, but also bring in new creatures. Again, I think the main star of this entire season, not even the damn xenomorph, it's the eye. It's the eye.
that eyeball.
Right.
Eyeball.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, it was so, I think, uniquely designed. Even some of the other aliens creatures that we still didn't even, have sense of knowing, and even then, they create a level of suspense to tease it. And then when we do get the reveals of what these aliens can do, then they wreak havoc. But it's a very intellectual way where they make that payoff, build off of that suspense. But my main thing for you was what do you think is some the standout performances you got from this season? Because hopefully, I mean, I can guarantee probably gonna get a season 2 of this. I would want a season 2, especially where they end off. But there's many different standouts in terms of performances that came out of the show. But what was one that stuck out for you?
Well, I mean, there's a lot. I guess I can go with like three that definitely stuck out. First off, let's start with the main star of this, Sydney Chandler playing Wendy, who is basically the leader of these group of lost boy hybrids, kids that are placed into the bodies of these synthetics and are more than the type of synthetics that you've seen before in the Alien franchise. They have the minds of children, but they look like early 20-year-olds, you know. And for Wendy, she's the more advanced. There's a lot that she can do, which I don't know if they fully ever explained just how she's able to do so many things. But I think
Right.
Sydney Chandler, I think Sydney was able to do so much with this character. There was definitely a sort of innocence there, but also a sense, like, I think she said it best in the final episode. It's like, they can't be kids anymore. They can't be adults either. They can't even be the people that they were before they swapped into these bodies. So it's like, who are they? Who do they become in this? Do they become monsters? Do they become something else? And I think she definitely channeled it the most with her need to find her brother, with her need to understand the xenomorphs, with her need to figure out how to keep her group safe. You know, she felt like a maternal figure, but also at the same time a very, what's the word,
Like protective.
what, protected, yeah, thank you, like a very maternal protective figure, but also a very like innocent figure as well, because there's that double layer that I think she was able to achieve very well. Another one being Samuel Blinken as Boy Cavalier. This dude just had an unhingedness about him. Like, he was really just doing most of the stuff he does in the series because he's curious and because he wants someone as smart or smarter than him to have a conversation with, to the fact that that extends not just to humans but also to synths, to hybrids, and even to some of these aliens. And it's just like, you are treading unto territory. But he's literally the type of character that's like, I'm doing these things because I can, because no one can stop me, because I'm a multi-trillionaire prodigy. Literally, he calls his company Prodigy. Like, he has the biggest ego out of any character I've really seen in the last couple of years of TV and cinema. It's just like, you know, props to him. And lastly will be Bobu Kasei, I think I'm saying that correct, as Morrow, the cyborg that was a part of
Yes.
the ship that crashed on Earth. He, dear God, he was menacing. He
Mhm.
was menacing, but at the same time, you could see where that was coming from in the lot, and in classic alien fashion, in the life that he left behind on Earth, to basically selling your soul to a corporation that is going to treat you like crap but needs you to do these type of situations. He was one of those characters that definitely embodied that very well. So yeah, those three, like, again, everyone did a great job, but like, those three are definitely the three standouts for me when it comes to this season.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of the ones that you mentioned. Also, I want to add in Timothy Oliphant as Kirsch. That's the synth Kirsch synth. Like, listen, like, you
Yes.
want to talk about commanding a physical presence here? Because I I've seen him in other television shows and everything like that, but like, this is where, you know, he really gets to shine here as a synthezoid and everything. And I really like in terms of his payoff throughout the season. He's very smarter than what he gives off. And to even to becomes his relationship with the Boy Cavalier, like, that's I thought that that dynamic was very interesting, because again, he's not just a dumb high like synthesis, like in previous alien movies and stuff, but he's giving off a little bit of David, like he's curious,
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
that's why I was kind of seeing where things are gonna go. And again, all the actors that played the children, hybrids, Sydney, Lily, also I think it was a few other actors too in there, but all the actors that are playing basically the mind of children in the synths bodies and everything, or excuse me, the hybrids, I should say, that they were that I thought they gave off, like, no, their performances was real, and it was very authentic in terms of their, I want to say, performances playing children, in terms of giving
Mm-hmm.
that sense of innocence and level of, like, okay, this is not looking campy, like you're a bunch of kids just jumping around and just just
Yeah, yeah.
when
I could
it doesn't
definitely
get the
see that.
Shazam elements,
Yeah,
like
the Shazam element. Yes, the Shazam element. Like, kids but literally in grown-up bodies. You especially see that with Seam and Slightly. It's like they definitely
Yes.
feel like two kids who are trying not to mess up, but like especially with Slightly, like his whole dilemma just trying to save his mother from potentially getting killed and doing it in the most childlike way. Like they felt like it felt like that. Lily definitely felt as Nibs definitely felt like the most unhinged. Uh Arana as Curly trying to be, teachers' pets. Like they all definitely felt like kids. They 100% felt like kids.
Yeah, and I like to also get into Alex Lothar, from who plays Hermit. Again, when I saw him in that Black Mirror episode, and like he got very popular after that. Again, tremendous performance in that.
And
But
don't forget, he was an Andor. He was an Andor too.
he was an Andor. Yes, he was. Yeah, no, a lot.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's a few other actors here from Andor. But anyway, again, this show's giving Emmys, and Emmys just happened. So, yeah, next year we'll see what happens here. But definitely,
Yeah.
I think it was well deserved here in terms of his dynamic with Wendy, Sydney Chandler. Again, we did a really good job there. And even in the sense of the billion-dollar corporations, like taking these sick kids and making them into hybrids and trying to give them a sense of opportunity. But again, we're exploiting them, right? But also knowing what it does to the child mind. It's like they're in a body, there's that, and it's conditioning where it's like they're not fully developed. And again, it just also just kind of gives a sense of vulnerability to all these characters, where these just kids are just thrown to these very traumatic situations really quick. And what does that do to the mind? Even when you're traumatized, it's almost like you paralyze and you stunt your growth in a way, to your recent traumatic experience. And and you mentally, like, you might be physically 30 years old, but mentally you might be 15, or when you were abused or something. It's like, hey, I'm just giving an example like that. It's just like that. The way they exploit that in their performances, I thought was very good. But even to the sets, like the practical effects of this show, the fact that you have practical xenomorphs, which they took off, a little bit from from the original Alien, but also with the Alien Romulus kind of going back into ground, like filmmaking 101. Yeah, what was your thoughts in terms of visually how this show looks good? Because you also got people that made Legion, one of my favorite shows on FX, but and definitely it gives that level of aesthetic. Like this is giving HBO level bit,
Yeah. But no, like yeah, you said it best. It's like the aesthetic, like every location that we have in this, be it Prodigy's, hidden island, or on the ship that felt very classic, first Alien movie specifically.
Yeah.
Every one of them had like a personality too. Again, especially Prodigy's island facility where we spend most of the series. It feels, in some cases it feels comfy and cozy, but you just look closely and you're like, there's a lot of dark underlying tones to this, a lot of dark secrets, laboratories with experiments. Hell, you remember the whole like door that was being sealed off multiple times within this season? I don't think that ever got addressed. Like,
No,
we
it
still don't
didn't.
know what's behind that. So it's like, it's a
No.
place, it's a place that looks comfy but has a lot of secrets. And it's like the way that they're able to blend that is really good. And as said, when it comes to these like creatures, especially the xenomorph, like the xenomorphs, sorry, because there's a few that are in this season, the xenomorphs in this are insane killing machines when they need to be, because they also do interesting stuff with them and Wendy that it could be its own freaking discussion. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of what they do and making the xenomorph scared by not showing too much, having it in low lighting, or even if it's in bright lighting, it's only in bright lighting because it needs to be seen, because it's unique. Like the one that's birthed on the island, for example, the specific color pattern that one's got and the connection it's got. But again, they made it menacing. They made it feel like an immovable object that is extremely hard to kill. Not impossible, but extremely hard to kill. And I definitely got to give it up to the props, VFX, direction, lighting, all of that in making the because again, the xenomorph, as we said, wasn't the big star or even the big like attraction within this, but it didn't feel like, oh, we weren't focusing, like we didn't have it have some importance. Like it definitely still has a presence within it, even though we have a lot of other things to also tackle. Maybe that might change in season 2, we'll see. But like this season, it was done really good. It was done really good.
Yeah, I again, to your point, to wrap things up, I think the way that they utilize the xenomorph and knowing how to smartly use them and not over, saturate the show on it, because you're thinking ahead, okay, TV, alien on television, that doesn't sound good on paper. But how you execute, I thought was very smart in terms of what they did here. Also, not making it more of the antagonist. The antagonist is really the corporation, the man versus nature complex of it, and people's different motivations. Like that's the true, protagonist antagonist relationship in this show. And again, as the way it ended, it's not over. No, the Lost Boys took over, and we got the Wayland Corporation heading there to the island and getting ready, while also I is still kicking, and got a body. In some way, I would like to see how, if the actual villain of this show actually ends up being, or like the eye, in some way, and trying to pose as a human or whatever, because we haven't actually seen the eye speak in any, because he has been a human before, but he hasn't speaking in full sentences or anything. It's still given that animalistic nature of him. But again, these creatures evolve, so I don't know, like he's very intelligent, there's no doubt about that. But I'd love to see how they're gonna wrap those things up in season 2, but also expand on it, like, okay, now we're in the city, we're on the island, now we're in the city. How's that
Right, like how is that going to be? Like, is it like going from island to city? Like, is it going to be, say, Jurassic Park 2, where we just got a bunch of them running across city? And I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see with season 2, but I am definitely anticipating it.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2. But yeah, guys, this is our full season review of Alien Earth, which is now on FX and Hulu. So you're able to watch all 8 episodes, currently now on Disney Plus and Hulu. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, comment, like, and share. We'll see you guys in our next video review. Peace.